See if you can complete this phrase for me. The more things change,
The more they stay the same.
the more they stay the same. I don't know if it's ever crossed your mind when you're listening to the political debates of today and of yesterday, and you think back to the Roman Empire, and you think of the politicians in those days, thinking, yeah, I hope he defeats Hannibal, but if he defeats him, he's going to come back with his army, and he's going to be in power in Rome, and I'll be out, and my friends will be out, but maybe we won't because we've got a lot of money, so maybe we'll stay in. What I'm saying is the politics of money and power and of the world in the past and in the present tend to stay somewhat the same because people are somewhat the same, or a lot the same. Let's think of another example. Another example would be public speaking. Remember, the Greeks had 3 words. They said if you want to be a credible speaker, one was ethos. People have to think you're ethical. Logos, they want to have to understand what you're trying to tell them. And pathos, they have to like you, or you have to connect with them in some emotional way. And this is happening right up till Romney in the Republican convention saying, you've got to come across as a real person, as a person with children and problems, and somebody that helps the sick, and somebody that does something besides count your money in your counting room. So this is another example. In fact, there were great students of public speaking. I think we think more of the Greeks in terms of public speaking, and a couple of the Greeks arguing, is there reality out there, or is what we think is reality just the most powerful speaker, the person that frames the world in such a way that we say, oh, that's how it is? I didn't think it was that way, but I guess it must be. An example, somebody watching Hitler, born today, might look back at Hitler and say, well, he didn't eat any trans fats. He wasn't a smoker. Maybe he wasn't so bad, because they use today's judgments of what's important. Parliamentary procedure. I was reading a book about Rome, and they had procedures for this was about Cicero, and he was trying to become the Grand Council or work his way up in politics and make alliances and say what he had to say. And they had rules. Let's say when the sun came down, you had to stop talking. And so if they didn't want him to get to talk at all, they would try to extend their speeches until the sun went down and he was put on the agenda for tomorrow. So the same issues of trying to organize how to do things, how to make decisions, so that the majority gets to make the decisions, but in an ideal state, the minority, people that don't win the vote, at least have been heard. Maybe some of their ideas are incorporated into things. And the idea that you keep dignity and you don't say, well, you just want this. You want more taxis because you own a set of taxis. Say, yeah, well, that may be, but I think taxis are good. That's why I own them. All right. I thought it might be fun, because this is a humorous speech contest, to suggest that the issues of today could be brought back, and the humor of today could be done in Rome, in stand-up comedy in Rome. So they may very well have come up with the same lines that I might come with out here. The comedian might step up and say, does this toga make me look fat? No. All right. Now, this is a nice crowd. I was at the vomitorium last week, so this is definitely a better place. I'm moving up in the world. There was a guy there that kept yelling out, "I'm sleeping with your I'm sleeping with your mother." Finally, I said, "Go home, Dad. You're drunk." All right. Now, even in Rome, jokes didn't always work. So that's something to keep in mind. Perhaps they might have teased Caesar if they used the language we used. Yeah, Caesar, I know kind of how he got his name. I used to see him going down the street. Caesar and her and maybe him. But, you know, I want, in case we have some secret police members here, I want you to know that I am with the government. I'm basically a Republican. You know our motto, God, the gods help those they've helped before? Well, that's what I believe. And they help those who help those that the gods have helped before. In fact, my motto is Veni, Vici, Valaci. I came, I saw, I called the cops. So I'm on your side. Keep that in mind. Very loyal. How about that scam when they were going from BC to AD? We had to buy new sundials. It was a waste of money, wasn't it? My sundials still work. That was terrible. Storing food, and it's funny how they knew that BC was coming even in AD. Anyway, well, I don't have too long to speak to you today, but you know, I know a lot of you are interested in power and in being right. I had a cousin who used to close a lot of things and say he was right, but you know, I don't have time to talk to you about him. But let me close with this. Socrates' mother had 3 children. Their names were dime, nickel, and right, Socrates. Mr. Toastmaster.